Daily Devotion with Pastor Balla for May 18th, 2021, from Luke chapter 22, the preparation for the Passover, verse 7. Then came the day of unleavened bread, on which the Passover lamb had to be sacrificed. So Jesus sent Peter and John, saying, "Go and prepare the Passover for us, that we may eat it." Many of the events of our lives need preparation beforehand. The celebration of the Passover is one of them. The place had to be cleaned, along with the food. It isn't like going out to dinner. There is work to be done ahead of time. Verse 9, the disciples said to Jesus, "Where will you have us prepare it?" He said to them, "Behold, when you have entered the city, a man carrying a jar of water will meet you. Follow him into the house that he enters, and tell the master of the house, 'The teacher says to you, where is the guest room, where I may eat the Passover with my disciples?' And he will show you a large upper room furnished. Prepare it there." It seemed that Jesus had already taken care of the location. Just the prep work had to be done. Tomorrow we will hear how this Passover will be connected to the Lord's Supper. But for today, let's ask the question of ourselves, how do we prepare to receive the Lord's Supper? I like what Martin Luther has to say in his small catechism, as he has the following. Who receives this sacrament worthily? Fasting and bodily preparation are certainly fine outward training, but that person is truly worthy and well prepared who has faith in these words, "Given and shed for you for the forgiveness of sins." But anyone who does not believe these words or doubts them is unworthy and unprepared. For the words "for you" require all hearts to believe. Luther has the people focus on faith and trust in God's promises that the bread and the wine, the body and blood of Christ, are given and shed for you for the forgiveness of sins. So how do we receive the Lord's Supper? We should ask ourselves, do we really need the forgiveness of sins that Jesus provides? Notice the focus is not on what you do. Even though Luther says fasting and bodily preparation is good, but the focus is on what you receive from the Lord's Supper, that is, the forgiveness of sins. So do you want this forgiveness of sins or not? Do you realize your need for this forgiveness of sins? Or doesn't it really matter? The idea of fasting and bodily preparation is to remind us of our need for the forgiveness of sins, which the Lord's Supper gives to us. You see, that Christ Jesus takes care of everything. You have nothing to do, just receive God's grace and forgiveness. Just like the disciples, what happened to them? Verse 13, and the disciples went and found it just as Jesus had told them. And they prepared the Passover. Okay, the disciples had a little prep work to do. Just like here at Peace Lutheran Church, there is a little prep work. The altar needs to be set up. The elements of the bread and the wine need to be prepared. And then the divine service on Saturday or Sunday, where we get to receive this grace from Christ Jesus himself. And of course, there's always the cleanup afterwards. Yes, there is some prep work. However, Christ Jesus takes care of the rest. God's peace and many blessings be with you, and thank you for listening. And please take an opportunity to share this message with others. If you have enjoyed these daily devotions, please consider making a donation to Peace Lutheran Church, 24024 West Main Street, Plainfield, Illinois, 60544. Thank you again for listening.